What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cab Show. What a weekend for the wild card playoffs in the NFL. It was amazing. Let me start off with the Houston Texans beating the LA Chargers. This was an upset pick. The line came in at 2.5 for the Chargers, and I thought, looking at that line, I was like, man, why are the Chargers favorite? Historically, they just haven't been well in the playoffs. We go back to 2 years where they're up by like 20-plus points going into the second half, and they blow the lead and lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I was like, man, why are the Chargers favorite here? It doesn't make sense to me. And really, I just switched my pick, and I'm like, I'm going with the Houston Texans. I'm going because of this run game in Joe Mixon. And Joe Mixon had a day. He did. He had 106 yards rushing and a touchdown. C.J. Stroud had a touchdown. He also threw a pick. But we look at the Chargers, Herbert, 4 picks. You're never going to win a playoff game throwing 4 interceptions. That's just part of it. I'm not really just blaming Justin Herbert alone. I'm blaming one of the receivers. I think it was a tight end that dropped a pass that led to a pick 6. It kind of sucks. It really does. We look at the Chargers' first-year head coach in Harbaugh. It just wasn't meant to be. Yeah, they made it to the playoffs, but they got bounced in the first round. And that's just how it goes sometimes. But we look at the Houston Texans. They played the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend, and they're going to lose. I'm sorry to tell you, the Kansas City Chiefs at home looking to three-peat, the first team to ever three-peat in history of the NFL. They have an opportunity to do it, and they're not going to lose to the Houston Texans. I think it's going to be a relatively close game, yes, but I just don't see them beating the Kansas City Chiefs. But hats off to the Houston Texans at home, a playoff game. This was a must-win, and they blew them out. And what's crazy, this line, the over-under was 44.5, and it was 44. That is crazy. The analytics, the chat, GPT, all this stuff adds up to where it's like, all right, we're going to come up with 44.5, and literally was half point with the under. That is crazy, dude. Like, it's crazy how they do it, but hats off to the Houston Texans, LA Chargers, maybe next year. And then we got the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens. Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, it's been terrible the past 5 or 6 years in the playoffs. Always losing in the playoffs. I get it. You won a Super Bowl, but it's just like Mike Tomlin, similar to like Mike McCarthy, who the Dallas Cowboys just released. So I'm looking at Mike Tomlin. I do think they're probably going to release Mike Tomlin. I mean, it kind of sucks as a business, but it's result-oriented where it's like, bro, you got to win in the playoffs. You just have to, and you're just losing these games in the playoffs where you're just not going to make it to the top doing that. And I knew the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to lose this game. This was my lock pick all weekend. The Ravens, 100%. And I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers and realizing you guys had Russell Wilson, bro. Like, he's washed up. Like, plain and simple, like, he's not the same Russell Wilson that he was in Seattle. He's not the hungry Russell Wilson in Seattle. Now, he's married to a celebrity chick. Shout out to Sierra. But it's just like, bro, like, there's no hunger and passion anymore in Russell Wilson. He's clearly there to just get a paycheck and a paycheck only. Like, that's just how it is. It kind of sucks. I think, the Pittsburgh Steelers failed Justin Fields. I thought Justin Fields should have started the whole time. In the first, 6 games, he was 4-2 as a starter. Then they bring in Russell Wilson. It's just a bad look for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they deserve to lose. They really do. But for Justin Fields, it was just like, bro, like, he should have been the guy. He's young. He's hungry. He's learning. He's getting better every single season, out of Ohio State. It just kind of sucks, bro. Like, Russell Wilson, he should not be in the NFL anymore. I think he should hang it up. I think he should retire. I think that's it, bro. Like, Russell Wilson, your time, everything, it's done. It's over with. I'm sorry, bro. Russell Wilson is trash. Like, straight trash. But the George Pickens bet did hit anytime touchdown. He was plus 240 to hit. That bet hit. Shout out to George Pickens, but it's all Baltimore and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, 175 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Then you had Derrick Henry, 186 yards rushing and 2 tutties. Shout out to King Henry. And I think that's the huge difference in Baltimore this season is having Derrick Henry. I mean, Derrick Henry's the X factor. If you cannot stop Derrick Henry on the ground, the Baltimore Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. Mark my words. I'm telling you right now, if a team does not game plan to stop not only Lamar Jackson, the MVP, he probably is going to win another MVP, to stop Derrick Henry. How are you going to stop Derrick Henry, bro? Like, he's still balling out. He's, 10 years in the league. The longevity as a running back is insane as what Derrick Henry's been doing. It's awesome. It's magnificent. Shout out to Derrick Henry. But like I said, if you do not stop Derrick Henry in the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to make it to the Super Bowl and probably win a Super Bowl. I'm telling you right now, I can't wait, man, to see who they match up with next. Yes, it's the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. We have Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. This is like the blessings from the NFL gods. Like, this is what we want. We want the two best quarterbacks in the league going against each other, and we're going to get that this weekend. I cannot wait. But shout out to the Baltimore Ravens, man. I'm telling you right now, they are the biggest threat right now is the Baltimore Ravens. And then we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Washington Commanders. Shout out to the Washington Commanders winning in a sweaty game. I was leaning more towards the Bucs, and I thought, well, who had the better season overall in general as a team, as a group? And that is the Washington Commanders. They had the better season, and shout out to the rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels. 2 touchdowns this game, 268 yards passing. Everybody slept on Jaden Daniels. Should have been the number 1 overall pick. He was not. I'm telling you, out of LSU, he should win Rookie of the Year. It's been awesome. You know, it reminds me of when RG3 got drafted. His first year, he took him to the playoffs. And RG3 was doing great things his rookie season. But Jaden Daniels, man, he's on fire right now. And what really hurt the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tampa Bay's up in this game by 4 points. I think it was 16-20 at the time. And Baker Mayfield and his receiver just had a weird reverse they did, and they fumbled the ball. And the Washington Commanders recovered that fumble. That was the momentum shift. That was about 9 minutes left in the game. That was a huge shift of the whole dynamic of this game. And that's what ultimately led to Washington Commanders winning this game, was that Baker Mayfield fumble. I don't know if it was Baker's fault or it was receiver's fault, but I look at the coaching and say, bro, why are you guys doing reverses and like just handoffs to receivers and stuff like that? Just keep it basic 101. You guys are up by 4. You have all the momentum. Washington Commanders just went for it on 4th and down with like 5 yards to go from the touchdown. They failed to get it, and you got the ball, and it does not make sense to me. They were just trying to get too cute. It's just another bad down season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where you're looking at Mike Evans, who had his 10th or 11th year over 1,000 yards receiving, and it just goes to waste now. It's like, wow, bro, Mike Evans is just straight balled out. He had 92 yards receiving and a touchdown. Like this game against the Washington Commanders, and it just all went to nothing. It really did, and it boiled down to that fumble in the 4th quarter that changed the whole dynamic of the game. But shout out to Terry McLaurin from Indiana. He had 89 yards receiving and a touchdown. I mean, straight balled out. And what's crazy about it, and I looked in our fantasy league, he went in the 7th round. Terry McLaurin, he's a top 5 receiver in the NFL right now, going in the 7th round. You bet, you know, this year coming up in this new season in 2025, 2026, Terry McLaurin's going to go in the first 2 rounds, if not the round 3. Like, Terry McLaurin is a difference maker. He's becoming a superstar there in Washington. So he's just a dynamic type of receiver where he can break you off and just take you for a touchdown. And that's what he does. But Jaden Daniels, man, and shout out to Austin Eckler. He had 27 yards. He had 8 carries. Just enough. He really had just enough to get that leverage there. And I just think right now, Washington, man, they're a sneaky team. They're a sneaky good team. Everybody slept on them because they beat the Bears by that Hail Mary pass in the regular season, which they should have never won that game. Just a lot of big games. They won by 1 point in New Orleans, where they should have probably lost that game as well. New Orleans Saints went for it for the 2-point conversion to win the game, and they failed that. There's so many dynamics where Washington's been battle-tested so much this year. It made sense to go Washington, even though the public was definitely like 60%, 70% on Tampa Bay at home. That's just not how it goes in the playoffs. You can't just bet on the home teams and expect them to win every single time. That's just not how it goes in sports betting. Like, yes, everybody would be rich sports betting if that was the case. Like, yeah, let me bet on all the favorites. Let me bet on all the home teams. That's not how it goes, though. You know, the 2 underdog teams that won was the Washington Commanders and the Houston Texans. So shout out to them, man. What a time. And then we had the Denver Broncos versus the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills ran right through them 31-7, man. Shout out to Josh Allen, dude. I'm telling you right now, 272 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen is a dog. He really is. He had 46 yards rushing. James Cook had 120 yards rushing and a touchdown. I'm telling you, the Buffalo Bills are a nice team. 100%, and it looks like Josh Allen is locked in. It looks like the Buffalo Bills are locked in on defense and offense as well. You know, they have a huge test coming up. I mean, it's going to be the best game all weekend. Coming up this weekend is definitely the Baltimore Ravens going into the Buffalo Bills. I can't wait for that matchup. But we look at the Buffalo Bills. They had a great season as well. 13-4 in the regular season. They come into this game, you know, banged up. Bo Nix had some back issues. I kind of feel bad. He's a rookie, and he really panned out to do some great things there in Denver. The future's bright in Denver. It 100% is, dude. I mean, you have a Hall of Fame coach. You have all these things going for you in Denver, and Bo Nix looks like a great pocket passer, kind of like a Joe Burrow-esque, not as athletic, obviously not as tall, but he just has that dynamic about Bo Nix where he has that calmness. He's not panicking under pressure. He's not making bad decisions all the time. So the future's bright in Denver. But, hey, shout out to the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, man. Let's go! And then we got the Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I went Philly all day in this matchup. This was an easy pick for me. Why? Because we have Saquon Barkley. He had 119 yards rushing, so he hit over on his yards. His yards was 103 yards. I went over. That bet hit on 25 carries, and a lot of the public was betting Saquon anytime touchdown. And I said, don't bet on Saquon anytime touchdown. Bet over on his yards. Why? Because they like to do the tush push within like the 2-yard line. So, and a lot of the times Jalen Hurts gets those rushing touchdowns that take away from Saquon. So I hated that bet. But yet the media and the public went heavy on Saquon anytime touchdown. And what's crazy is the last carry, Saquon had like a 50-yard run, and he could have easily took it for a touchdown, but he slid, which was the right thing to do. If you're Saquon Barkley, just slide. You're in the playoffs. They're playing for a Super Bowl here. So I just think Philadelphia defensively, they had the best defense in the NFL, 100%. They had the best defensive backs. They have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL right now. And I'm looking at Green Bay, and I knew Green Bay was kind of just overhyped. I'm not the biggest Matt LaFleur fan, like the head coach. I think he's mid at best. It's just like, yeah, Jordan Love, 3 interceptions. Welcome to the NFL moment right here for Jordan Love. I understand you backed up Aaron Rodgers. You came in a couple years ago, but it's just like, man, like, you're not going to win playoffs by throwing 3 interceptions. No matter what team you are, who you play for, you're just not going to do it. This is the playoff football. This is way different than the regular season that we're used to seeing in, like, the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold. Like, yeah, you look good in the regular season, but it doesn't matter. What matters is in the playoff time right now, right here, how are you going to perform? Are you going to make the big plays? Are you going to let the pressure get to you when you're on the road? What are you going to do? But I just think, man, hey, even though Josh Jacobs' touchdown did hit, that bet hit, and that was his 9th or 10th consecutive game with the touchdown. So that was probably the safest bet out of all the games this weekend. Josh Jacobs was the safest bet. Shout out to Antonio Brown, AB, man. He posted that he was going Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown. That bet hit, man. I followed it. I tailed it. It hit, man. But shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles. Am I concerned about Jalen Hurts? Just 131 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. And we look at, some of his receivers. A.J. Brown had 1 reception, bro. Like, you guys, if the Philadelphia Eagles really want to win a Super Bowl, they're going to have to get A.J. Brown involved. We saw A.J. Brown on the sideline reading a book. It's just like, bro, I don't know what it is with the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts right now. But Jalen Hurts is just not looking like the old school Jalen Hurts from a year or 2 ago when he played in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. It just doesn't look the same. I think Jalen Hurts, man, I don't know what's going on. But the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to win a Super Bowl if Jalen Hurts continues to play like he's playing right now. Like, you're going to have to get your dynamic players involved. You're going to have to get Devontae Smith involved. You're going to have to get your tight ends involved. You're going to have to get your star receiver in A.J. Brown involved. Because if the Philadelphia Eagles do lose this weekend, I would expect A.J. Brown to request a trade. Getting 1 target here every other game, bro, like, come on. You're going to have to get your key players involved here if you want to win a Super Bowl. But shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles getting a big win at home against the trash Green Bay Packers. And then we got the Monday Night Football game, the Minnesota Vikings versus the L.A. Rams. The Rams just cooked the Minnesota Vikings. We look at the Vikings and realize, yeah, they were frauds. They had a great regular season, but Sam Darnold just mid, bro. He's a mid quarterback. And I remember about week 14, 15, everybody saying, pay Sam Darnold a bag, pay him over $100 million, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, really? Like, really? You want to play this guy? You know, the guy who does just not get it done in the playoffs? No, do not play Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was just a one-hit little, okay, good season here and there. Like, no, bro. You're not going to pay Sam Darnold 100 M's. That's ridiculous, dude. That's like playing Kirk Cousins. How'd that work out for you guys, Minnesota? How'd Kirk Cousins do there? Exactly. How's Kirk Cousins doing in Atlanta? Okay, I'll stop there. It was all Rams. Shout to Matt Stafford, 2 touchdowns. Over 200 yards passing. The Rams had a better quarterback, and they had a better coach in Sean McVay. And that's what boiled it down to. And Kyren Williams, 78 yards rushing, and he had a touchdown. It was all Rams here, dude. It really was. Shout out to the Rams. They scored a defensive touchdown. It was all Rams. And I look at Minnesota and realize, you know, it sucks for Justin Jefferson because he really doesn't have a great quarterback. TJ Hawkinson, his over on yards was 41.5. That bad hit. He had 64 yards receiving and a tutty. Shout out to TJ Hawkinson, but the Rams, man, they're playing great at the right time. They really are. And this is the time where they start to, you know, take off here. Cooper Kupp just had 1 reception for 29 yards. Looked to get him more involved. Puka Nacua had 5 receptions, 44 yards. Tyler Higbee had 5 receptions, 58 yards. So look for Cooper Kupp as we get deeper in the playoffs to get more involved. Like, you're going to have to. If you're Matt Stafford and the LA Rams, I'm cooking up right now, and I'm saying, look, Cooper Kupp, we need a Cooper Kupp-esque game. We need a 10-reception game for Cooper Kupp, over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. You know, you guys play Philadelphia, so it's not going to get any easier. You're going into Philadelphia for the divisional round. I cannot wait, man. This weekend, man, it's going to be great. We have the Houston Texans versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm telling you right now, the divisional round, I'm definitely taking the Chiefs. I'll take them at 7.5. I understand Houston, they look good, whatnot. Joe Mixon, the great run game they have, it's great. Even though this year, the Kansas City Chiefs have not scored a lot of points. And I'm looking at Mahomes and company and saying, they got to step up their offense. I mean, this is the time right now, you know, looking at 3P. I just don't see it this year, though. I see Kansas City, yes, they're going to win this game, but come the AFC Championship game, I think they're going to lose in that game. And who are they going to lose to? Yes, you heard it from Cap, no Cap. The Baltimore Ravens, yes. The Baltimore Ravens are going to beat the Buffalo Bills this weekend. They're a 1-point favorite. It started Bills at 1 point, but I just think the difference in this Baltimore-Buffalo game is the run game for Baltimore. Who's going to stop Derrick Henry? The wear and tear is going to run right through the Buffalo defense. And even if you do stop Derrick Henry, you got to worry about Lamar Jackson. He's going to scramble out. He's going to make plays on his legs. And also he's going to make plays with his arm. I expect Zay Flowers to be back. He tweaked his knee the last game of the regular season. But I'm looking at the Baltimore Ravens, man. I'm all in on them. You know, who is the better coach in this game between the Baltimore Ravens and Buffalo Bills? Okay, it's Harbaugh. I'm leaning more towards John Harbaugh in this game. He's the Super Bowl winning champion coach, so I'm going Baltimore here. You know, I'm just thinking logically here. By the numbers, I get it. Josh Allen's had a great year. The Buffalo Bills have had a great year. But historically, the past couple of years, we've seen Buffalo lose in the playoffs at home. We saw them lose to the Cincinnati Bengals when Joe Burrow went there in Buffalo in the snow and beat them. So I'm going Ravens here. I think Ravens make it to the AFC Championship game. I think it's going to be Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Lamar versus Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be great. It's going to be primetime TV. I cannot wait for that matchup, man. And then we got the Washington Commanders versus the Detroit Lions in the NFC divisional round. This game is going to be relatively close in the first half, but I'm going Detroit, man. There's no reason for me to go Washington right now. I get it. The season they had, Jane Daniels has been doing great things. Oh, and some people are saying Detroit's on upset alert. Stop that crazy talk. Stop that crazy talk right now. We're talking to the Detroit Lions here. We're talking about a team who's lost 2 games all year. We're talking about head coach Dan Campbell here, who's changed the whole dynamic, the whole culture in Detroit. So I see Detroit winning this game. They're 9.5-point favorites. You know, I would like to lower that a little bit just because Jane Daniels and Washington can put up numbers. They can put up points. They can score 28-plus points. I definitely like the over in this game, which is crazy. I mean, the over is 55.5. That is insane, but I just think Detroit, they're just too much right now. They're getting David Montgomery back. That's huge. That helps between him and Jahmyr Gibbs in that run game. So that's going to be interesting, man. I can't wait for that. But it's one of them things where I get it. Washington's done great things. Jane Daniels done great things. But I think the Detroit Lions defense is going to get to Jane Daniels. They're going to put pressure on him. They're going to force him to make throws where he necessarily doesn't want to make. So that's the difference there. But I think Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, St. Brown, Sam Laporta, the offense, You have Williamson, dude. It's just, dude, I'm telling you right now, the Detroit Lions are going to win this game. There's no way I'm picking an upset in the Washington Commanders to win this game. They're just not going to. It's just not going to happen. And then we got the Rams versus the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC divisional round. Philly 6-point favorites. Now, this game right here. This could be the upset alert game here. Who's the better coach? Sean McVay's way better coach than the Philadelphia Eagles head coach. Philadelphia Eagles head coach just looks miserable. He looks pissed off on the sideline. He looks like he just hates his life, bro. And it's like, bro, you have the best running back in the league right now in Saquon Barkley. Like, there's no reason for you to just hate your life like that, bro. Like, chill out, man. Team smiles, man. You got to smile sometimes, dude, in life. Fuck, dude. Like, are you really just going to be that miserable? But I think that the biggest upset of this weekend of the divisional round is definitely the LA Rams. I think the Rams could beat the Philadelphia Eagles. We've seen Jalen Hurts time and time again this year where it's just like, bro, what is going on? They lost to the Atlanta Falcons earlier this season where I'm just looking at Jalen Hurts just kind of not making the plays that I'm used to seeing Jalen Hurts make. Like, I'm thinking unless Jalen Hurts balls out and has a great game, yes, the Philadelphia Eagles should win this game. But I just think right now, man, the LA Rams, they're locked in. They're the team that's going to upset them. You know, you can't even say the Baltimore Ravens is an upset because it opened that the Buffalo Bills were favored by 1 point. So the Buffalo Bills-Ravens games is literally a 50-50 coin flip. Like, you're getting even money, basically, on that game. So you can't really say it's an underdog play. The underdog play in the divisional round is definitely the LA Rams. You know, you could say the Washington Commanders, no, Detroit is going to run right through the Washington Commanders. And the Houston Texans, I get it. You know, that could definitely happen. It's hard to beat Kansas City in Kansas City at home when you got to worry about the refs. The refs are going to favor Kansas City. It's better business for the NFL when Kansas City does win. You got to think of that. You got to think of the Taylor Swift, you know, effect where you're getting more numbers. You're getting more viewership there. It's bigger business. It's more money in people's pockets. It's just better business for the NFL. So clearly, Kansas City's going to beat the Houston Texans. Just simple fact that it's just more money for the NFL. It's a business. So I just think Kansas City's going to win. But the upset alert game is the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Rams could win. I really do. They have the team to do it. They have the defense that's stepping up now, man. I cannot wait, man. The NFL is here. The playoffs. This is the best time of the year. You heard it from Cap. No Cap. It's the Clouded with Cap show. Let's go!